But, we survived that. We'll survive anything. That's who we are. We're Americans. We will survive. We will survive. So, as we kind of outline the show, we talk a little bit about William Barr and where he is on finding out why the Mueller investigation started in the first place. Hmm. Makes you kind of want to go, hmm. That's what the kids say. Hmm. I'm telling you, man, you can't make this stuff up. I mean, it's what it is. So I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about why William Barr launched this investigation and how Jeff Sessions let all these things get out of hand. I mean, Jeff Sessions just blew it. He blew it left, he blew it right, he blew it in every which way. So I'm going to play to you a couple of clips from Barr and what Barr had to say. He's down in El Salvador right now, visiting with the El Salvadorian presidents, kind of confirming that we stand behind them. We support them in their efforts to put down MS-13. MS-13, bad boys. When you talk about bad boys, these are bad people. Yes, sir, bad people. And the thing about it is they try to act like, it's okay to be a criminal. We understand why you're criminals. You're criminals because you're criminals. It has nothing to do with your socioeconomic background. Plenty of poor people who aren't criminals. Plenty of poor people who aren't thieves, killers, and whatnot. But no one wants to really talk about that. Well, um, yeah. So one of the Fox reporters went down to El Salvador to uh, talk to Bill, visit with Bill for about half an hour, and had a couple of clips that I thought were really, really poignant. I'm going to share them with you. So let's listen to uh, Mr. Barr and this Fox
How do you
newscast.
think John Brennan and James Clapper handled the Russian investigation?
Well, again, I don't want to speculate about the facts because I don't know the facts at this point.
At all?
I know some facts, but it's premature to be discussed.
Can you tell us what the Steele dossier had to do with this? What role did that play?
Well, that's one of the questions, that we're going to have to look at. It's a very unusual situation to have opposition research like that, especially one that on its face had a number of clear mistakes and a somewhat jejune analysis, and to use that to conduct counterintelligence against a American political campaign is would be a strange development. I'm not sure what role it played, but that's something we have to look at.
Do you smell a rat in this at this point?
I don't know if I'd describe it a rat. I would just say that the answers I'm getting are not sufficient.
Just to follow up on that, Republicans have said for months that these men, Brennan, Clapper, maybe James Comey, had it in for Trump. Do you think that's true?
Again, I'm not going to speculate about their motives.
In the period of time between Election Day and the inauguration, did anyone in government or in intelligence, did they take action to justify their decisions?
Wow, heavy questions, pointed questions, short to the point, and I'm sure they edited this to get what they have. But Barr is very clear that these people knew that they had shaky information. They knew that they had bad information that they were taking to the FISA court to get a FISA warrant. They know that. They knew it. They knew it all the time. Amazing. You can't make this stuff up, people. You can't make it up. So where does this investigation go now? This is certainly not Watergate, or is it? Was President Obama compliant in, or I should say complicit in seeking out the spying on the Trump campaign, the Trump presidency? Because what we don't talk about is let me just kind of lay this out for you. The Obama administration or Justice Department came to the FISA courts and said, "We need a warrant to surveil the Trump campaign because we feel they're colluding with the Russians." This was in June. It was denied. They came back in October with another request for a FISA warrant that was more specific. And they wanted to see if the Trump campaign was working with a Russian bank. And the warrant was issued for 2 weeks, 14 days. Problem is and was that they're not talking about, of course, is after the 14 days, which would have ended before the election, they kept the warrant open. They kept the warrant, the wiretapping, the listening, the surveillance, whatever you want to call it, the spying. They kept it open until January 21st. I think Trump was inaugurated on the 22nd. But anyway, a day before, I think, no, I'm sorry, Trump was inaugurated on the 21st, and they killed the warrant on the 20th of January. That's what I remember. So if that's true, they were spying on the Trump campaign from October through to January, the day before he took office. Somebody needs to pay for this unlawful, egregious abuse of power. Simple. Now, see what happened.
Hey, this is Leonora Cravota from Red State Talk Radio
And
for
what's
My Pillow.
happening?
I used to have trouble sleeping. My Pillow changed all that. I now fall asleep within moments of my head.
Sorry about that. What's happening is the script got flipped. Okay, the script got flipped on the deep staters. The script got flipped because Hillary didn't win. If Hillary had won, do you think the AG would have opened up an investigation on Trump campaign? No. If Hillary had won, because there wouldn't have been a need to. If Hillary had won, everything would have been pushed under the carpet. They said, "Well, we settled Benghazi." The former Secretary of State and the President elect and President Clinton, she testified for 8 hours on Benghazi, which she lied the whole entire time. She lied, and we heard things from the State Department that we knew more about what was going on than you guys did, who were there in the compound being fired on and shooting and killing people all night. True story. That's what these school book types tried to tell these warriors who were out there fighting for their lives, fighting for the country, fighting for the lives of the whole diplomatic staff there in Benghazi. Wow. But my point is, if Hillary had won, we would never have had a Russian collusion uh, investigation. They would have dropped it. They'd say, "Hey, we won. It's over, done." But they're trying to push forth this, and I don't know what they hope to achieve. Impeachment? No, they're not going to get impeachment. They're not even going to try to impeach Donald Trump because there are no crimes, no misdemeanors, no high crimes, no bribery that they can prove. Oh boy. Now I'm going to go back to the tape and continue because I want to finish this out because Barr has some interesting points to make in that people knew about the bad information in the Pfizer warrants and the dossier.
Between election day, did you say?
Between election day of 2016 in November and inauguration day.
I think there were some very strange developments during that period. That's one of the things we want to look into.
Such as?
Such as the handling of the meeting on January 6th between the intelligence chiefs and the president and the leaking of information subsequent to that meeting.
Was that meeting in New York City?
Yes.
In Trump Tower?
Yes.
What questions do you have about what happened that day?
Again, I'm not going to get into that.
But it's on your mind.
That's one of the things we need to look at.
Can you characterize how far advanced you are in understanding that meeting?
We're still in the stage of gathering all the information.
Wow. Barr is very clear. He doesn't, mince a lot of words. He doesn't talk about a lot of things. He's just very matter of fact. This was the first interview, as a matter of fact, that he's done as AG. It's interesting that he took the time to do it on a trip to El Salvador. They ride around in these private jets, man, that are really cool. They're all decked out, they're in and out, in and out. Um, but he's down in El Salvador, assuring the government down there that we support them instead of MS-13. Now, if it was Barack Obama, we'd be supporting MS-13, I'm sure. Because they're only criminals. They're good. They're good people. They're good people, right? Barack insane Obama. Hey, look. One other thing. Let's see. Where are we? Where are we? Let's see here. Okay. Go over here. Okay. Yeah. Nope. Okay. Let's take that out. Okay. We'll take that out. And okay. So, as I'm sitting here and I'm thinking about finishing up this Barr piece, because Mr. Barr is, like I said, he's a very interesting guy, and you just don't find him like him anymore. They just don't make him who are, he's like, hey, uh, Speaker, did you bring the handcuffs? I love it. And, the other myth that he wants to dispel is that the president told McGrath to fire Comey. He didn't. He said he thought that Comey or not Comey, but Mueller. He to fire Mueller. He said he thought that Mueller had a conflict of interest. So if Mueller had a conflict of interest, what you do is roll Mueller out, put somebody else in there to finish the investigation. That's the thinking. That's what would have happened. That's what it would have played out.
Posed with that question about whether or not he considered witness tampering once he got the Mueller report, Bill Barr explained his decision this way.
That's a misconception. He was not asked to change his testimony. That was a reaction to a press story in the New York Times that claimed that Trump had told him to fire Mueller. And that Trump, and this, I'm just going by what the report said, I'm not arguing the case, but Trump was mad at the word fire and claimed he never began to fire Mueller. And in fact, elsewhere, the report does say that McGahn was told by Trump to talk to Rosenstein to complain about conflicts of interest that Mueller had and have Mueller removed for conflicts of interest. And there's a difference, because if you remove someone for a conflict of interest, presumably someone else is going to be put in to continue the investigation. And what Trump was being accused of in the New York Times was just outright directing the firing of Mueller.
See, so
there's another aspect of this too. Remember,
there's a big difference. And so when we continue to talk about these things, we continue to break down the lies that are being told, that have been told by mainstream media, continue to be told by mainstream media about what the president said and how he tried to obstruct the investigation into the Russian involvement. If there's anyone who tampered in our elections, I think it was the Chinese. Nobody wants to talk about that. They don't want to talk about the Chinese attacks on our campaign system, on our voting system. Unfortunately, it's just amazing what they don't want to talk about, what they give away. The misconceptions out here. Old Uncle Joe. Well, Uncle Joe's back at it again. He said some of the most preposterous things that I think you could ever say to anyone. But that's Joe. That's who he is. That's what he does. But we're going to take a short break. It's that time, and get back to talking about Bro Joe and Joe Biden. And he said immigrants are the best. They're sending us their best people.
Kim Moline, co owner of the Wingstop restaurants in Lansing and South Holland.
Hey, Tom, I've got to be honest. Although I was unhappy with our old payroll company, I was pretty apprehensive about transitioning to a new one. When it comes to payroll, delays and lost data are really unacceptable. But I'm happy to say your staff really made it easy for us, and the transition couldn't have been smoother. And now, as we consider taking advantage of some of the other services you offer, well, let's just say that next time we won't be so chicken.
Thanks, Kim. Just call me at 630 242 1507. That's 630 242 1507. Or check us out at the web at precisionpayroll.com. That's precision.
Hey, this is Leonora Cravota from Red State Talk Radio for My Pillow. I used to have trouble sleeping. My Pillow changed all that. I now fall asleep within moments of my head touching my pillow. That's how comfortable My Pillow is with its patented interlocking fill. My Pillow stays cool and does not go flat. Plus, it's machine washable and dryable. My Pillow has a 10-year warranty and a 60-day comfort guarantee. My Pillow is also the official pillow of the National Sleep Foundation, and it's made right here in the USA. My Pillow is now offering Red State Talk Radio listeners a 4-pack special with 2 premium standard or queen pillows and 2 go anywhere pillows. That's 4 pillows for the price of 1. To take advantage of this special offer, call 1-800-961-9194 and ask for promo code Red State. That's 1-800-961-9194, promo code Red State. Put sleepless nights behind you with My Pillow, the most comfortable pillow you will ever own.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Kim Moline, co owner of the Wingstop restaurants in Lansing and South Holland.
Hey, Tom, I've got to be honest. Although I was unhappy with our old payroll company, I was pretty apprehensive about transitioning into a new one. When it comes to payroll, delays and lost data are really unacceptable. But I'm happy to say your staff really made it easy for us, and the transition couldn't have been smoother. And now, as we consider taking advantage of some of the other services you offer, well, let's just say that next time we won't be so chicken.
Thanks, Kim. Just call me at 630 242 1507. That's 630 242 1507.
Okay, welcome back to the Reality Check with CB. It's been one of those days where old Uncle Joe decided that he was going to not only try to pull the wool over our eyes, but he insulted Camilla Harris. Oh, what do I mean by that? Well, old Uncle Joe said that Camilla Harris would make a great running mate for him. Now, let's take into account where Joe is in terms of likability and polling and all that good stuff. Okay. So I'm going to get the latest numbers here on the Democrat candidates for president and where they are today, what the polls say. This is a brand new poll today. Okay, so we got to get these from a couple of different polling places. You know, you like I said, you can't make this stuff up, people. You can't make this stuff up. Um, let's see here. Where are we with these polls? Let's get the results. Real clear. We'll go to Real Clear Politics. They always do a good job of having the latest polls. Okay, here we go. So the presidential feel for Democrats da-da-da, is the results. Looks like Joe Biden with 35%. Okay, oh, just switched on me. Joe Biden with 35%. And what the heck? Yeah, Joe Biden with 35%. Bernie was following Biden. What the, this thing just switched up on me. I didn't ask it to do all this. Went to the it, it went to the polling by um, states, New Hampshire, all that good stuff. But that's not what I'm looking for. What I'm looking for is this right here. Okay, so The latest, oh, that's South Carolina. That's Monday. Oh, that's the 13th. Okay. I don't want to look at that. It's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Okay, today. Let's look at Friday. Polling. The polling per Fox News is Biden at 35%, Sanders at 17%. So his closest is 50 points behind. Then you have Pocahontas. You have Camilla Harris. What is she, Pocahontas too? It's no. So you have Sanders at 17, Elizabeth Warren at 9, Camilla Harris at 5, Mayor Pete at 4. Then O'Rourke is at 4. Bosey, he's at 2. Oh boy. Klobuchar, she's at 2. Castro, he's at 2. Grabarth, she's at 1. And Gillibrand, she's not even showing. God. Yeah, there she is. She's at 3. Wow. This is deep, man. This is going to be fun, I tell you. They have Biden beating Trump 49-39. Yeah. That's until old Joe starts opening up his mouth. He tickles me so much. So let's go and see why Camilla Harris was so angry. Here she is out here trying to run, trying to get some traction. And, and she had this to say in response to Joe Biden saying that she would be a great running mate. She would be. She'd be a tremendous running mate. You know, as Barack Obama said, she was the prettiest attorney general in the country. That's the title President Obama bestowed on her. You know, you're the prettiest AG in the country. Yeah, a lot could be said for that. But Camilla wasn't hearing that. She was like, hey, man, uh, Joe Biden could be my running mate. Let's play it. Where is it? Come on, let's do it.
That Joe Biden would be a great running mate. As vice president, he's proven that he knows how to do the job. And there are certainly a lot of other candidates that would make, for me, a very viable and interesting vice president.
Yeah.
That Joe Biden would be a great running mate. As vice president, he's proven that he knows how to do the job. And there are certainly a lot of other candidates that would make, for me, a very viable and interesting vice president.
Wow. I love it. And you know, she's serious. Yep, she's serious. She was absolutely incensed that Biden would say that she'd make a great running mate for him. Totally. Totally. And I don't blame her. And then Biden goes on to say, the last couple of days, he said this in a couple of places. Um, he said that commenting on the Central Americans who are coming here, he compared them to his Irish ancestors who left behind Ireland for the United States during the Great Famine. Now, you have to remember, Joe Biden is a racist. He has a reputation of being a racist. He did not support the civil rights movement. He was not a supporter of Dr. King. It's amazing how these people try to do their revisionist history piece, right? But just all I can say is go out there and look at Biden and the civil rights laws where he voted, what he had to say. He's very proud to say that Delaware was a slave state. So they go Biden, who has Irish roots in Ballina and Mayo County and Loth County, was commenting on immigration during his campaign swing through Nashua, New Hampshire. And Mr. Biden said one of the reasons we are the nation we are is because we've been able to cherry pick the best of every culture in the world. And this is what he points to the American immigration system. He says that's why we are who we are. Think about it. That's why we are who we are because we cherry pick the no, we get people who are desperate. We get people who are malcontents today. We get the poorest the most ignorant. And we did get the same thing when Biden's people came over. They were poor and ignorant. That's why they came to America. Get on their feet. It's not like they came from royalty. So Joe says, and this is a quote, whether it was my great great grandfather getting off a caution ship up in the Irish Sea to come here in the middle of famine, or somebody coming in Guatemala, in from he wanted to say in from Guatemala today, but he said in Guatemala today, saying, I got a great ideal family. Let's sell everything we have, give it to a coyote, take it across the border, drop us in the desert, a place that doesn't want in a place that doesn't want us. Won't that be fun? We don't want them, Joe. In fact, I could care less about any of these immigrants coming here. They take jobs from black people, as Joe well knows. So Joe Biden even suggested that Americans who were critical of migrants and illegal immigrants rushing the southern border are hypocritical in describing them as the best of Central American countries. He's a lie. They're not. The best of these Central American companies are the military people who are facilitating their move and others. These people are so illiterate they don't even understand Spanish. That's a fact. So Biden goes on to say, who are your ancestors who came? What happened? These are the people that are optimistic, tough, resilient. They were the people that came, so we picked up the best of the nation. It's not true, Joe. How do you figure you picked the best of the nation if they were poor, ignorant people who came to this country? How were they the best of the best? I'm sure Ireland was full of people who were doctors and lawyers and builders and, you know, craftsmen, tradesmen who stayed in Ireland because they could make a decent living. Then Biden goes on to say, you can tell I'm getting a little exasperated with this. He says Biden demanded that Trump stop categorizing immigrants as dangerous. Well, call a spade, bro. The idea that we are trying to scare the living devil out of the American public is just simply wrong. Uh, in Los Angeles last week, Biden referred to the Burton debate as a crisis created by Trump and defended migrants and illegals coming from South America. Wow. How could he do that? He's totally anti American. The former senator also said that the government has an obligation to provide everyone in the country with health care, including more than the 20 million estimated undocumented immigrants who are currently residing in the U.S. Wow. Biden goes on to say, look, I think anyone who is in a situation where they are in need of health care, regardless of whether they're documented or undocumented, we have an obligation to care for them. Well, you know what? People in other countries don't have an obligation or feel they have an obligation to care for us. We spend millions, hundreds, billions of dollars on illegals every year and their children. And they're creating a health problem in this country in terms of the measles. Totally a health epidemic. I guess you hear these papers in the background rattling. Yeah, I'm just looking at a couple of stories here, deciding whether or not I'm going to do them. But I just tell you, it just ticks me off to hear, people constantly lie about immigration. Immigration is bad for America. It's bad for people at the lower socioeconomic end of the ladder. And instead of giving these people checks, we need to give them jobs. We need to give them incentives. We need to give them something to get up for. But that's too much like right. It's too much like you're doing the right thing. So President Trump spoke in the Rose Garden today to reporters, and he was very clear what he wants to do in terms of rolling back the stance on immigration. He's very clear about that, and he has a great plan. And we'll see what happens, and we'll see if the Republicans can push it across the border in the Senate. But again, we have people who are not committed to America. They're not committed to Americans, and it's very difficult. And Trump senses that. He gets it. He gets it's very difficult. Uh, People want to do their own thing. People have their own agenda. When we bring all these Mexicans and these South Central Americans to our country, they're scared of guns. They're terrified of guns. They're so ignorant that they're blindly impacted by Catholicism and the Catholic religion. They're totally programmed. And it's scary that these people will be allowed to vote. They will vote to take away your guns because guess what? Guns are bad things. These are ignorant people who know nothing about freedom, who know nothing about winning wars, who know nothing about nothing except how to eat, subsist, and take care of themselves. These are uneducated people who will be voting what the Catholic Church tells them to vote, which is to leave your guns at home. Leave your guns behind. Turn your guns in at the next gun turntable. Serious. I wish I weren't, but I am. Very serious. But those are the implications that we have with illegal immigrants, illegal immigration. They're not here to accept Americana. They're here to do their thing, whatever they think it is. Joe Biden says Kamala would be a great running mate for me. Oh man, I love it. I love it. You can't make this stuff up. Can't make it up. And if you do, you might get caught. Then again, you might not. But if you want to catch my picture, catch it in Times Square. If you're lucky to be there on that fourth hour that I'm doing my thing. Hey, hey, waving to you from Times Square. Boy, people are still talking about this um, trade war with the Europeans, trade war with the Chinese. We've always had uh, tariffs to protect the American workers, to protect who we are. We've always had that. And we're going to continue to have them. We're going to continue to do things our way. So it's going to be interesting to see who wins in this tariff fight. But I think it's going to be the president ultimately because, doing or undoing a presidential campaign came largely by people who believed in their candidate. Today, very few people believe in their candidate. People believe in Donald Trump because he says what they want, and not only does he say what they want, he does what they want. It's amazing. The guy does the right thing, and he's saying things that aren't racist. He said, you're sending, killers here. You're sending rapists here. You're sending bad people to America. Yes, they are in record numbers. And law enforcement is overwhelmed. If you don't believe me, look online and go, uh, not China so much, although China has an issue. Uh, the Hispanics or the Latinos, they're right there in our face, time in, time out, again and again, saying, hey, we want to go back home, waving Mexican flags and Honduran flags. Could you imagine those Jews who were on those boats, that boat in 1939 trying to get entry into America, waving a Nazi flag, saying, let me in because, I'm here. Sorry, baby, don't work like that. And then you have these ignorant black people who are running around talking about people of color, that the white man will be the minority in 2040. Are they stupid? They're stupid. Let me answer that for you. Stupid, stupid, stupid. But that's what we're dealing with today. We're dealing with people who are not that smart, who are stupid. As a matter of fact, they are stupid. It's good though to see the president jumping on and off Air Force One, and in lockstep with all that energy. It's great to see a president that's 70 something years old who has that much energy. It really is. I mean, you look at Andrea Merkel, man, that's Lord. She's hard on the eyes. I tell you, I tried not to look at her. Not Andrea. Yeah, Andrea Merkel is not a good looker, but Theresa May isn't either. And Theresa is planning her exit from PM to private sector. She's trying to get the heck up out of there. Yep. So we have all these conflicts going on. They're interesting. You got we have Venezuela just south of the border. You got Guatemala. You got Honduras, which are sending people to our border in record numbers. We're catching them, we're apprehending them, and we're putting them in jail. You know, Pete, Governor Pete was asked, or asked me, I should say, why was I so anti-immigrant? I said I'm not. I'm anti-illegal immigration. And the other thing is when immigrants get off the boat here today, they're treated much better than Black Americans. They have access to things that other people just don't. Hello? Okay. But they don't. I'm just kind of channel surveying. We got another new restrictive abortion bill coming out of Missouri. It's just a whack job, is really what it is. But we'll see. Now, Tiger Woods' success to diversify golf, it didn't. His his promise to diversify golf didn't work, didn't happen. Oh man. So his Woods has claimed golf's uh, spotlight again, but his stardom has not produced a divorced army. I mean, I'm sorry, a diverse army of stars, which some had predicted. Hmm. That's because it's easy to play basketball, and it's not an all-year thing. Okay, it's easy to play basketball, football, baseball. It's not all. They're not all year sports. Tiger Woods and golfing. That's an interesting article. But Kobe Narcisse, he played high school football mostly because his friends are on the team. He'd rather crush drives than deliver crushing hits to other teammates and opponents. He was introduced, though, to golf at the age of 5, thanks to Tiger Woods and some of the things that he's doing. Wow. Yeah, that did inspire a group of young folks in 77 to rise up and get in the mix. Also, tennis. We had Venus Williams, who decided that she was going to get involved. And she and her, Venus and Serena, went out and beat a whole bunch of butt playing tennis. And so black folks started playing tennis again because we lost our Arthur Ashe. There was a big gap, big, huge gap. Still one, even though the black young lady, won the U.S. Open, and Serena's out there still kicking butt. But there's still, you know, uh, work to be done, opportunities to be had. I think now, Tiger, they're talking about his play today and yesterday. In fact, I should go to ESPN and look at his play today because I think he just came on as we were coming on the air. he was teeing off at one something. Yeah, so he had been on. He'd already been on when we came on. But wasn't that a hell of a game last night? I'm serious. That was one hell of a game. I wish I could say I saw it, but no, it was watching me. I want I wanted to watch it, but no, it was watching me. The PGA Championship. So I'll put in here PGA, and let's see. We'll do let's do live. See what happens, so that we can figure out. Okay, Kapaka. He's two. Is he two under? Yeah, he's two under this round. Got off to a good start yesterday. Got off to a great start yesterday, actually. But and if he doesn't fall off, shoot, he's smoking. But Spith is right behind him. Tiger's not in the hunt. Maybe he'll get in the hunt today or tomorrow. Who knows? But that uh, Beth Page course is, whew, man, that's a long course. And it used to be a city course, public course. It's private now. I know it's not private, but it used to be a city course. And you can go and play. You know, if you're a New York resident, I think it's 65. If you're not a New York resident, it's 90 or something like that. So, but you can go play the course. Great food. I know that. Man, it's Friday. It's Freedom Friday. I love it. You just can get out here and smell that fresh air and do what you want to do. And you know, I love it. We can kick it. In fact, I'm going to call a buddy of mine when I get off the air and see if we can go kick it a little bit. Get ready to get into the weekend. The evolution of curried rice. I don't think we got to do that story. It was a funny story though. And the abortion rights people are asking Christian Gillibrand to stand up, and she won't. She won't stand up and say she's pro life or pro. Yeah, she's pro life. We'll see. We'll see what happens. She's just, she's trying to get her legs under. She's trying to win, and people are trying to get her to make a decision about which way she wants to go. She's like, I'm trying to. I'm willing to go to the way that takes me to the fastest uh, nomination for president of the United States. People forget that everybody has an agenda. These candidates do too. And their agenda is not to usurp your congressman, your president, your senator. It's to get you to focus on who these folks are and pay some attention. That's what I would do. Man, it is, we're expecting in parts of the country a lot of hail, a lot of storms, a lot of hail, though. So much for climate change, huh? So much for droughts. Remember they told us that we're going to be droughts everywhere. You know, people were going to be not have on coats in December and November and January. Wrong. Oh man. But Monday we're going to do a hit on Bernie Sanders, and that should be interesting. We're going to talk about how he crusaded for a Latin American Marxist. Yes, you heard me right. Latin American Marxist. Wow. You'd never believe it if it weren't for Trump, right? He's done his thing. He's done his homework. Continues to do his homework. It's amazing. But the I'm not going to go into any of these other stories. They're so depressing. Like the guy at Ohio State, the doctor at Ohio State, and others. It's just so depressing. These just degenerates, man. They need to be taken out and put down for the people they are. You can't make this stuff up. People try to. They're always trying to give someone an excuse. I get tired of it. And I know you do too. But look, we're going to segue out of here and we'll be back Monday. I think we'll be back Monday and bringing you a couple of new guests that we're going to pull on board and tee up. Yep. And take care. Take care of yourself. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Have a good one. Okay. So much for that. Okay. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. In this stream, in this world.